Well, my old friend Yudi Zuller is in our studio. And we reunited via telephone after many, many years last week. And I told him that when he's in the U.S., we must make sure to get him in the studio because he's involved in a cause that's not new, but a cause that's going to be new to a lot of people listening. He's Director of Development of Sulam Israel. You can actually go to the website, SulamIsrael.org, on your own and check out what they're doing. Again, Sulam, S-U-L-A-M, Israel.org. And there's all the info, but we get to discuss it with him live and in person on a Thursday morning. Yudi Zuller, welcome back to JM in the AM.
Good morning, Nachum. Before we get to Sulam, I heard you saying when I was getting ready to come in about everybody should show and tell how enthusiastic they are about your show and about what you've done for the last 43 years. So let me just throw my hat into the rink. You've done amazing things for the Jewish community, keeping people informed, especially years ago when we didn't have the internet, we didn't have smartphones, and you were the number one source of all the sports scores for all the local yeshivas, for the high schools.
That's what you remember.
That's what I remember, going on every day to find out who won the basketball tournaments and who won the hockey games. And
were there other important pieces of news aside from the Jewish Sports League?
There were important pieces about Israel. I mean, most people don't know that you taught Jewish history in MTA, and for 1 year, and I was lucky enough to have you as my teacher as a sophomore in high school. Wow. It's something that I will always remember. You really turned us on to Israel, and you really educated us and taught us about modern-day Israel, which I had no idea. I've told you this in the past. You're probably my earliest influence. We made Aliyah 16 years ago to Ma'ale Adumim, and it's really a tribute to both you and to Rabbi Marcus Zichrono Livracha, who just passed away.
Right.
Unfortunately, I was at the Levaya last week, but you were really big movers and shakers in the Jewish community when it came to Israel at a time where, not like today, where, so many more people are into it because of social media and because of, the internet.
And circumstances.
Yeah, and the circumstances.
A lot of people are now closer to the whole Israel issue because of what's happened the last couple of years.
Absolutely. But back in the day, it was really, it was a big eye-opener for a lot of people. So kol hakavod to you, and everybody should continue supporting you and the great work that you do.
I thank you. And while we're on the topic, I will then remind everybody they can go right now to fjbunity.org and throw in some support, fjbunity.org. And this show, and you, of course, alluded to the, shows evolve. The show today is not going to be like the show 20 years ago for a million reasons, not just the advancement of technology. But now the mission has become almost a single mission, and that is focusing on Israel and transmitting the message, which you will appreciate, that the future of the Jewish people is in the state of Israel. And Yudi Zuller would say, hey, folks, there's room in Ma'ale Adumim for you. There's room there.
There's plenty of room.
There's housing available.
Yes,
in fact, you told me that your area of Ma'ale Adumim you consider to be a really nice, amazing community.
It's a very special community. The biggest Hesder Yeshiva is across the street.
The largest Hesder Yeshiva in Israel?
Yeah, Birchat Moshe.
Is in Ma'ale Adumim.
Is in Ma'ale Adumim, used to be.
So you're across the street from Jewish heroes, literally.
It's an amazing place, and amazing views, amazing people. Really a special place to live, and I'm zocha to be a part of it.
And how did you, this is a terrible way of saying it, how'd you end up in Ma'ale Adumim? There are a lot of communities in Israel where the typical person 16 years ago coming from the United States would have gravitated to.
So it's an excellent question. Ma'ale Adumim was not a landing spot for many people.
Right.
I had an aunt and uncle who I grew up across the street from them in Flatbush, who made Aliyah in the 90s, and their daughter continues to live in Ma'ale Adumim down the block from us. So we were familiar with the community, and since I was going to be commuting, my wife wanted the extra coverage with when I was out of town, family to rely on. So that's where we ended up, and we love it. It's an amazing place.
Even though commuters sometimes like to be closer to the airport.
Yes, that's the one drawback of Ma'ale Adumim. It's an hour from the airport.
Is there public transportation from Ma'ale Adumim to anywhere?
Yeah, everywhere.
Seriously?
Everywhere. Yerushalayim, Tel Aviv. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It's
and only bus, I assume. There's no train or light rail anywhere.
There's light rail in Yerushalayim, obviously, but no, only by bus. I mean, it's 45,000 people right now, so it's a very large
So the only way you can get to the airport is by car, unless you wanted to get creative and go to Tachla Merkaz Yerushalayim and take the train, or train station, I should say.
Right. A lot of people do that if they don't have luggage or they don't have a lot of luggage. They take the train. They go to Yerushalayim and take the train. But otherwise it's only by car.
Very interesting. Like talking about these logistics, because hopefully people listening in the diaspora, because we have a big audience in Israel, but those listening in the diaspora hopefully will start to consider some of these things and start saying to themselves, hey, if Yudi Zuller did this from Brooklyn to Ma'ale Adumim, maybe I can do it.
Yeah, it's really, I would strongly recommend it to everybody. It's an amazing way to raise children.
Your family was enhanced because you moved to Israel.
Absolutely. My family loved it. My kids were so happy. We was, obviously, like most people, we were so worried before about the adjustment and, friends, and really it was Bli Ayin Hara, seamless. The
Yetzer Hara plays so many tricks on everybody. It's crazy.
Yes, it does.
It's so crazy because 10 minutes after you're there, you're like, wow, why wasn't I here earlier?
I mean, listen, some people have a hard time, and Nefesh B'Nefesh is there, and there are other places that that really help out. But
family and friends are a good support system for most people. Not everybody has family and friends there, but a lot of people do, and that's always always comes in handy.
Yeah, and especially I would say, as you mentioned before, after the last 2.5 years, you would think that people, that maybe it's not such a good time to make Aliyah, that people are nervous because of this war and because of the situation. But I've spoken to so many people, even this trip here in New York, I've spoken to a few people who are making Aliyah in January or making Aliyah in the summer, and it's had just the opposite effect. I think it's brought together Achdut, and it's brought together the Jewish people, and people feel more of a kesher to Israel and more of a reason to want to be there and to want to be a part of it and help defend the Jewish state.
Amazing. Well, you see, based on the order of topics, you see which is the top topic here.
Absolutely.
Yudi Zuller helping us remind everybody of the future of the Jewish peoples in the state of Israel. How did you find out about this organization that we call Sulam Israel?
So Sulam is schools for special needs kids. There are 35 of them throughout the country.
It started when?
Started 45 years ago when the mother-in-law of the current executive director, Esther Ernster, somebody knocked on her door, a neighbor, crying that her son was not accepted to any gan in the neighborhood, and she had a private gan in her house, and she asked if you can please make an exception for my special needs kid and let them into your gan. And she did, and within a year, she had a few centers open, and since then it's expanded. We just opened 5 in September. There are 13 in Beit Shemesh, 12 in Yerushalayim. Literally,
how many have you visited?
Probably about half so far.
Wow, that's impressive.
There have been 2 or 3 that I've been to like 4 or 5 times. Right. The main center on Rehov Saratskin, right across the street from Torah Or. It's for 6-month-olds through first grade. They have 180 students in that center. They have hydrotherapy pools, pet therapy, music therapy, all different types of kids, from Downs to kids that can't see, kids that can't hear, all the way to kids with autism, kids on the spectrum, kids that can't communicate. They do a lot of work through tablets, through iPads.
And these branches are from the north to the south, like all over Israel?
All over. It's funny. Literally coincidentally, I keep on saying that, and people look at me like I'm crazy, but it really is coincidence that I started in September, and the day that I started, they opened up their first branch in Ma'ale Adumim. But it was coincidence. It had nothing to do with me. Obviously, they knew about it before we met. But
look, those of us who know you know that you take on projects and become very passionate about them, but you don't take on every project. Why this one? Why did you end up where you literally took a position as director of development for them?
So, great question. There are a couple of reasons. First of all, when I went and I went and I met with them, and I went to a couple of the centers, I was just blown away by what I saw, the love and the care that they have for the kids.
How do they staff so many branches?
They have a 30% success rate. 30% of the kids that go through the Sulam program are able to transition into mainstream schools by the time they're done. So that to me is amazing. It's really like unheard of.
And isn't it hard to staff 30%? 35 places?
Oh yes, 1,700 staff members.
Yeah.
It's
How
not.
do they find these tzaddikim to do it?
It's really unbelievable. It's mostly from staff. The people that run it don't have smartphones. They're not into social media. That's one of the reasons why they got me involved. And getting back to your question, one of the main reasons why it jumped at me is they're around for 45 years doing this amazing work, this Avodat Kodesh, and they've never had anybody do any PR or any events or anything for them. And for me, it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to take an organization that has so much success and so much experience and take that history and that success and run with it and show the world and tell the world about what they're doing and what they've done.
Yudi Zuller is here, SulamIsrael.org, and you mentioned to me that, like many organizations, those of us familiar with Israel know that this is a fact, like many organizations in Israel, especially the social service ones, the majority, for many, many years, the majority of their budget would come from the Israeli government, and they all have good partnerships with the government. The government is one that, even more so than what we see here from this government, and no complaint, America is in fact a Medina Shel Chesed, but in Israel it's off the charts. They understand the need of all this and want to take care of their own people. But the reality is, and now that we're in 2025, and with the war, etc., not everyone is able to maintain a budget that they were able to in the past because the government is strapped for money. So the reality is that Sulam and other organizations need support from around the world.
Well, that's exactly the reason that they got me involved. Right. They have a very, very large budget, which they get from the Israeli government. They get 90% of their budget from the Israeli government. The other 10% is private donors. But after the war, everybody is extremely nervous. They know that budget cuts are coming, and rightfully so. People, they're going to reallocate a lot of money to the military, and they want to be able to not just continue doing the great work that they're doing, but like I said, they opened 5 new centers in September this year. They want to continue building centers and continue growing. And Ma'ale Adumim is like the perfect example. They opened up a Ma'on for 2- and 3-year-olds, and when those 2- and 3-year-olds graduate, if there's not a GAN for 4- and 5-year-olds, and then an elementary school after that, these kids are going to have to get on a bus and go an hour and a half. Traffic these days to Yerushalayim is insane, so they're going to have to travel an hour and a half these days, back and forth. I recently, 3 weeks ago, Yaakov Shweki, another old buddy of ours, came to Sulam on Saratskin with me on the way to the airport. He said he was stopping for 5 minutes to talk to the kids. He ended up staying for a half hour and sang with the kids. He was totally amazed by the love and care.
Oh, and he knows something about
He knows a little bit about
needs
special needs.
Right.
Yes, he did. Yes, he does, and that's one of the reasons why I brought him there. And to see that the love and support, with his own eyes was, amazing for him. It was amazing for the kids. It's a very special place that does very special things. But we were in the elevator going down, and a parent, obviously an American who had made Aliyah, a young woman, got into the elevator, and it's funny, on every floor people walked in and they're like looking at him like, is that Yaakov Shweki? What's he doing in the elevator at Sulam? So she came in, and I don't even think she knew who he was, but he asked her, like, are you a parent? And she said, yes. And he said, how old are your kids? How old is your child? And she said, 3. And he said, well, what if Sulam wasn't here, what would you be doing with your kids? So she said, well, I would have to send them on a bus an hour and a half each way. She said, he's 3 years old. He can't go on a bus for an hour and a half, in the morning and an hour and a half at night. It will totally defeat any learning or any advancement that he makes during the day. Right. And, that's one of the reasons why, it is so special and it is so important to have local schools that give the kids the proper education, the proper love, and the proper therapy, and allow them to continue to grow and to mainstream into regular schools.
You're in the United States till when?
I am in the United States till Tuesday, Bezrat Hashem.
The reason I'm saying it or asking is because there is an email where people could reach you directly, and if someone out there does want to meet with you directly about possibly supporting the organization or doing something special for the organization, they should reach out to you with the following email address, Yudi, Y-U-D-I, at sulam.org.il. That's Y-U-D-I at sulam.org.il. Also, the videos from Sulam that you sent me, are they available on the YouTube page? We
posted them today, actually.
On YouTube?
On YouTube, yeah.
Literally search Sulam Israel?
Sulam Israel, yeah.
So you can see the videos and get an inside look as to what's happening at one of the Sulam branches in Israel. They also have a Facebook page. You're on Instagram, so obviously the social media presence is increasing. Yudi Zuller is here, JM in the AM. So how has it been so far? Are people in the United States receptive to actually supporting a network like Sulam in Israel?
It's been amazing. It's really the amount of support and more than the support, the encouragement that I've gotten from people. I think that since this is my first trip for Sulam, had it gone a different way, I might have been a little bit discouraged and might say, hey, let me go back to running my business and not get involved in more craziness. And my plate is full as it is. But just for example, I had a meeting yesterday with somebody at his business, and he gave me a nice donation, and then he said to me, "What can I do for you?" And I wasn't exactly sure what the question was because he had just given me a donation. So I said, "I'm not sure what you're asking. You already gave a nice donation." He said, "No, I want to give more than." He said, "First of all, I'm going to give a few times during the year, and I want to come visit one of the centers, but I want to do more than just give money." He says, "I see the videos, I hear, the passion. I know you don't get involved with anything that's not like the real deal. I want to do more. You tell me if you need me to introduce you to people, to network, to do an event at my house, anything you want, you just let me know, and I want to do it." Just one other thing that I want to throw out there, which I think is very important for your listeners. These days, Baruch Hashem, people go to Israel like they go to Brooklyn.
Thank God.
Thank God is right. Anybody that comes to Israel to visit, whether it's for the Chagim or winter vacation or yeshiva break, or if they have kids learning in Israel in seminary or in yeshiva, and you want to do 2-3 hours of chesed and see the amazing
work. Is there something for them to do?
With your own eyes to see what Sulam does.
Wow.
Send me an email, or you can send me a WhatsApp, 052-616-3648, and I will gladly meet you, take you, and it'll be literally. I think it will open your eyes and be a earth-shattering experience that you will not forget. To see these kids, I'll just tell you one quick story. I was at Sulam Saratzka in the main center in Yerushalayim the night before I flew. I had been there 4 times, but only for a hour visit. I wanted to go for a full, in-depth, 3-hour visit. I went down to the kitchen. I saw how they prepare the food. I went to the pools and saw the hydrotherapy. I saw the pet therapy and the music therapy. And I went into one of the rooms, went into one of the classrooms, and there were 5 or 6 5-year-old boys. And as soon as I walked in the room, they said, "Atayita, I'm Yaakov Shweki." They recognized me. I was there
from the prior visit.
We'd been there a couple weeks before. And the truth is, I went to blow shofar for them during Elul. I'm Baal Tokei on my shul, so I went around to a bunch of the centers to blow shofar. And so I talked to them a little bit, and then I went out, and the teacher followed me into the hallway, and she said, I just want to tell you something. These kids look like normal kids, right? And I said, yeah, pretty much. She said, these obviously are on the higher end. We have very low functioning kids, but these are obviously on the higher end. She said, but I just want to tell you that most of those kids, 5 out of the 6 of those kids, a year ago, could not speak.
Wow.
She said, they're not autistic. There's nothing wrong with them. They come from broken homes, either divorced or physical or mental abuse. And as a protective measure, they shut themselves down and they refuse to speak. And we work with them little by little. We got them out of the shell. We use the iPads to communicate. We teach them hand gestures. We teach them how to communicate both in English and Hebrew and in some of the places in Yiddish as well. And get them to feel comfortable. And once a week on Fridays, we send them to regular schools for one day, so that first of all, their entire school experience is not just with special needs kids. They can see kids from their shul and from their neighborhood who are in regular schools, and they can also see what's expected of them in the future, how a regular school operates, what kind of behavior is expected in a regular school. They're not kid gloves like in the Sulam where they, hold their hands literally and figuratively and, teach them things little by little. And that's one of the main reasons, this inclusion method that they use, that gets them to eventually, hopefully, Bezrat Hashem, to mainstream and transition into regular schools, because they've already had that experience. And it's only once a week, but if they do it for a few years, eventually they get to the point where they can really go to schools full time.
Pretty amazing. Will there be a fundraising event, like a concert here for Sulam?
I'm sure there will be.
I'm only asking that because you have experience in that.
Yeah, we're working on some amazing things. This trip I did it small. Really, I don't like to call them parlor meetings, because to me that's a very old-fashioned term, and also that
a get together.
Yeah, a short presentation I was calling, because they were literally a half hour. And some people open their homes. We have one on Sunday night in Highland Park. We have one on Saturday night, in Highland Park. We have one on Monday night in Woodmere. But down the road, I have some big stuff planned. It was actually one of the first days I was on the phone with a donor from England, and they have a number of donors from Europe and people that have kids or nephews or nieces in the program, so they're familiar and they donate. And so I got on a call with one of them, and after he made a nice donation, I said to him, "Listen, I'm relatively new. I like to get people's opinion. Can you tell me what you think I should be doing in the future?" And he said, "Listen, I know your history, and I only bring it up because you say it."
Right.
He said, "I know you have a lot of experience in the concert business." He said, "I would go with what you have experience with and what you have been successful at. So if concerts works for you, you should." So it's definitely something down the road. I think similar to what you said, how the your radio show has evolved, the concert business has evolved.
Correct.
Between YouTube and all the ways of listening to music,
private backyard concerts.
Exactly. So that's VIP events and backyard concerts.
Well, I rent out Lincoln Center. You can bring us to your backyard.
And
what a major statement that is about the Jewish community.
Yes, it is. Listen, there's so much chesed going on in the Jewish community. It's really, it's amazing to me.
And we love when the excess of disposable income in the Jewish community is used for that purpose.
Absolutely.
I'm not being sarcastic.
It's an amazing Kiddush Hashem to see what the amount of chesed that goes on. It's really... It's unfathomable to see, and it's very, very, very heartwarming.
All right, Yudi Zuller. Our recommendation, go to our website. You can certainly donate and support the work of Sulam, and you can find out more about Sulam. And as Yudi said, if you're there for Hanukkah or for end-of-year vacation or yeshiva break, Pesach time, summer, obviously, whatever the plan is, be in touch with him, and you could arrange a visit and see it up close and personal. His email address is Yudi, Y-U-D-I, @sulam.org.il, and the website is sulamisrael.org, sulamisrael.org. Yudi Zuller is the Director of Development for Sulam. Anything else, sir?
I'll share two quick stories if we have time.
Go ahead, quick.
One of them is the director of OT in the Beit Shemesh Center was very excited to tell me about this project that she had been working on with 14 and 15-year-old severely autistic kids. They were preparing packages for the Chayalim, and it's very difficult for kids like that to put one potato chip, one bomba, into a package orderly, and they worked on it for months, and then she took them to the army base, and she said herself, she was so meragesh, emotional from seeing them handed to the Chayalim hugging them, and just it was amazing all around, an amazing, Achdus unity project to bring together special needs and Chayalim and just a beautiful thing. And then just the last thing is I also met recently a father in Sulam. I heard him talking in the hallway, and I went over to him and I asked him if I can use my phone and just recorded what he was saying.
Right.
He has 6 kids, 4 of them in Sulam, 2 severely autistic, very low functioning, 2 high functioning. He said that they were never able to communicate, and through two years in Sulam, they've taught them to communicate via tablet, say, "I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I want to go to sleep," both in English and in Hebrew. He said, in his words, they were matzil chayim shel hayaladim sheli. They really saved the life of my family, and I have so much gratitude to Sulam. And they really do amazing work. I'm blown away myself every time I go there. I'm like, wow. I said to my wife on Monday after I left Sorotskin before my flight, I said, these people are the most amazing people, and they are doing really such superb work for Am Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael, teaching the next generation and getting them to be part of the regular functioning society.
Pretty amazing. Yudi Zuller is Director of Development. SulamIsrael.org. Again, SulamIsrael.org. Be in touch with him directly. Yudi, Y-U-D-I, @sulam.org.il. Thank you, Kol HaKavod, and continue your amazing work.
Thank you. And you continue, first of all, your amazing work, and you're broadcasting everybody else's amazing work. So, you get a lot of the credit and a lot of the...
we take great pride in that.
Yeah. And listen, I remember standing on stage with you at the Beacon Theater. I think it was in 2009.
That was a good night.
That was a good night. An amazing night after a blizzard, and we thought we were going to have to cancel it. And so, Baruch Hashem, we continue to be involved in great things. We continue to try to help Am Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael and Torah Yisrael.
Yudi Zuller, it's a Thursday at JM in the AM.